Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you see me?
Okay, loud and clear. Yeah, we can see you. I was saying that's a hell of a chassis.
Oh, he's got the whispering
lovely
angel
bit of
up.
whispering angel. This is going to be a curious session.
We got a drink here.
Oh, God.
I'm saving it for you.
How was the Cotswolds, Dazza?
Well, we give it a miss in the end, so we're going to go next week instead. I went golfing today. That's why I've got my golfing kit on, mate. I've just joined a lovely exclusive club called the Aligo Club. It's pretty impressive. You've got to check it out. With you being the CEO at Clapham as well, you might be able to get in. You have to go through a tough interview process, though, boys. So don't let the riff-raff in.
What's the process for the interview process? I'm quite astute when it comes to interviews.
Having plenty of coin.
Yep, tick.
Yeah, and being able to socialise among CEOs from all around the world.
Yep. Well, you're speaking to one of the best CEOs in London.
Yeah, and be able to play golf. That's the most important.
What about, I'm guessing chassis. You don't need to have a good chassis because they let you in.
Yeah, you don't need a good chassis or a good lid, so you'll be all right.
I think I'm going to get into this place. To be honest, Dazza, we've got to say huge congratulations on the MBE. It's something I'm looking at doing in the future as well.
Yeah, I'm actually quite disappointed it's taking so long, mate. It's taken me to get to 50 years old to get this thing. One of my nicknames when I played, believe it or not, boys, was at Yorkshire. Because I was basically an elect player, an elite player, I only played for England. So every time I played for Yorkshire, all the crowd used to really get on my back and call me OBE, Darren Gough OBE, which meant only balls for England. They didn't get that I was just an elite player and I was just meant just to play for England and not bother with that county stuff. So they didn't really take it on board. But eventually I've got there, boys.
If I'm being honest, I had a word. I had a word for some quite sort of high rollers in the Ned, and I had a word and said, listen, this man is the exception to the 3 C's because he's got phenomenal chat. He's obviously got a lot of coin. And looking at your kitchen, Dazza, you are smashing it. But obviously, look, the chassis's not there. But that doesn't matter because, you know, I'm offering you an opportunity to come and, you know, come and join the chassis monsters for, you know, a week session, and we can get that chassis in tip-top nick.
I mean, how do you do that? What, just don't eat, or do you just have
No, it'll be on a strict 400 calorie a day diet, and then a lot of kettlebell swings. But by the end of it, honestly, that chasse, you know, your wife will thank me.
So 400 calories. So is it no drink for what? How long for? A week? 2 weeks?
No. Lashing's allowed, mate. We don't count the calories when we're lashing. It's just a lot of protein and a lot of. We'll probably stick you on the vodka, lime, and soda waters just to keep the calories off. But we'll allow you to have maybe on Friday night when we head to Inferno's, you can take a few bottles of that Whispering Angel, and we can lash it up.
50 calories, vodka, lime, and soda can't be bad. Is that the future? Is it?
Yeah, well, I'm looking at a way to sort of go in Inferno's. You can get the mist. You can actually inhale gin and tonic, so you don't have to drink it. So it will be low calorie. So you could just be in Inferno's getting pissed on the air.
Darren.
It sounds good, mate. Pump it through the aircon units. That's really good. I like it.
Darren, before we celebrate your incredible career in its entirety, how's the manscaping going? And have you had to return that Bentley yet, which you borrowed for your 50th?
Yeah. No, the Bentley's had to go. I've just got, I had to downgrade a little bit. I've gone for the S-Class Merc now. People call it an old man car, but do you know something? I like comfort, and it's pretty enjoyable. I've had it a week now, and it's a bit different to the Bentley, I will be honest, but the S-Class is pretty impressive.
My dad's actually got the S-Class, and sometimes, Alistair, he sometimes lets me go in the front with him, which is really, really cool.
Instead of the car seat in the back, yeah?
Yeah, he likes me in the back just because he says I can distract him. I think it's just because I've got so much sort of C.H.A.T chats. It can distract him. So normally he actually, when we're driving together, which is some of my favourite moments have been just me and my dad in the car. But he normally puts his AirPods in, just so he can't hear me, which is quite sad actually.
Darren, I want to.
Dad, if you're listening, I'm talking to Darren Gough. He's not listening.
He's sick of hearing you, mate.
He's not listening.
Darren, I want to take you back to your childhood, sir, when you were growing up in Barnsley, of all places, and you seem to be concentrating on becoming a professional footballer rather than cricketer, playing at a high level for a YTS team, which I see as some sort of trade union. So let's sort of whisper that quietly in front of Archie. But how did you make the transition from football to playing cricket for Yorkshire?
I think it was basically... I always wanted to be a professional footballer. Everybody who knows me from being young, in that pit village I'm from, everybody thought I was going to be a footballer. I played a little bit of cricket in the cricket season, but everybody caught me up. It's like, I always believe when you play play sport in general, there's three kind of spells. And at 8 years old, I was playing in under-11 football, and I was probably the best player. At 14, everybody had caught me up, and I was just dripping down the pile. I was middle of the pile by then. Wasn't quite good enough at 16. I had a couple of trials elsewhere and ended up on a YTS at Rotherham United.
Sounds horrible. Where's Rotherham?
South Yorkshire. It's near Sheffield. Do you know where Sheffield is?
No. The first north I've been is probably Camden. But I don't venture up there. To be honest, Darren, if I'm being honest, I can't understand a word a lot of them say.
Yeah, well, I've lost my accent a little bit. I've still got a Yorkshire accent, but if you heard my grandma speak, you would not understand one word. I really have to open the old earplugs to understand what she's saying. She says stuff like, "Help, come and get some water. Is that some water?"
No, is she Yorkshire or French?
No, water. That's what they call water.
What? Oh, right. Wow.
Water.
So Darren...
That sounds exotic. I should have actually tried to maybe do a gap year around that. Sounds interesting.
You'd have enjoyed it.
Darren, you're at Rotherham under-17s. How do we get, back into the Yorkshire cricket team then from there?
It's a bit of luck, really. I started to physically get stronger and bigger when at that age in cricket, fast bowling I was always trying to be, but I was never quick enough. And then a guy called Steve Oldham spotted me in some nets, and he really liked what he see. And he picked me for the under-19s as a 16-year-old while I was still playing football. And I managed to, believe it or not, in a game, get 8 for 13. And then within weeks, I was part of the Yorkshire team. There was a few injuries, and they asked me to play in the first team, and I did. And that was it. 5-year contract they offered me straight away, and football no more. And
Daz, what part did the legendary West Indian Richie Richardson have to play in turning you from a, let's say, talented cricketer into becoming eventually one of England's, greatest ever?
Well, it's kind of a vicious circle. When I started off, 18, 19, 20, I'd never been on an aeroplane, believe it or not, coming from where I come from, until I was 19.
I can believe that.
The under-19s to Australia. And they used to call me Guzzle Guts because I used to like my food and like my drink. And then I went through a spell where I got really fit and I had a good chassis and all that stuff. Yeah. And now I'm back to Guzzle Guts again. So it's a vicious circle, but I just got fit, and Richie Richardson was our overseas player. And he saw a potential. And we played against Malcolm Marshall, who was playing for Hampshire, the great Malcolm Marshall, one of my heroes. And he had a good old chat with me as well. And I was playing against him, and I wanted to impress him. And Richie was just that guy who was there, really cool guy, and he kept saying to me, "Come on, you can bowl faster, you can bowl faster, you can bowl faster." And once you do it once and you realise you can do it, it just carried on from there. So I was about 23 when my career really took off, but I started as a professional cricketer at 18. So it took a few years to get to the level I wanted to get to, with a little bit of help with some great players. But then I was just in the zone then for about 7-8 years.
Goffo, just one thing. What were you doing in those days to get fit? Because, I mean, what, kettlebells, bench press?
They're called the Ellery Hanleys. You remember Ellery Hanley? You probably don't know him because it's not rugby union. He's a legend of rugby league.
I thought I might be connected with him on LinkedIn. I don't think I am. No.
He's an absolute legend, and he used to do this. He always believed never do heavy weights, and he used to get these weights, and he'd do 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds skiing, and 30 seconds. Do that for 3 minutes. So they 30 seconds, 6 exercises. Have a 3-minute rest, do it again, 3-minute rest, do it again. You try that after we get off this phone call, and I'll promise you'll not finish it. 5 kg dumbbells.
Funny enough, I did a bit of that last night. 30 seconds, 30 seconds.
I bet you did as well.
Yeah.
Second time was a bit longer, yeah?
No. Well, it was just me alone at home. So, yeah. The second time was slightly more enjoyable.
You're pretty consistent on the 30-second mark, eh?
Yeah. I can get it down because I don't want it to interrupt my sleep. I just, I've got a strong imagination and a hell of a right hand.
Well, you should try it left-handed. It's always better.
Dazzy, you played in an incredible era of English cricket in a weird way, one in which we didn't win many games, but you were always a stand-up performer, getting man of the series acclaim. I can remember against the West Indies, famous victories overseas against Pakistan and Sri Lanka. How frustrating was it, firstly, that you were always coming up against, some of the best players to ever play the game, and secondly, that half the players in your team were at best mid-county standard?
Do you know something, mate? I knew that was going to be coming, man. The team in the 90s, the early 90s, I would say, where all the old boys, the legends that used to really know how to party, the Beefy Botham and Gower and Lamb and Gooch and Gap, they were all coming
the
to
Lords of Lash.
Yeah, that was serious Lashingtons. I remember being in New Zealand in 1990, spending 6 months in New Zealand on the Lash, actually, with a cricketer called Dominic Coe, learning my game. And England were touring out there, and those boys, every time, because you can imagine we were like a stag do for us. We were just out there, a couple of days' work during the week, bit of cricket on the weekend, could do what we want. But every time we went in a bar, all those boys were in there, really knocking it back. Gower on the champagne, Beefy on obviously the pints, and it was on and on and on. And I thought, these guys know how to party, and they were all really experienced and getting old by then. And so early 90s, they'd gone past the sell-by date, and it was a period of really bad cricket from England. But I promise you, from 95 onwards, I thought we had a very, very good team, some very, very good players. We just came up against unbelievable cricket teams. South Africa had made that comeback after obviously the ban through apartheid and all that stuff. Australia had by far the greatest cricket team alongside the West Indies team of the 70s and early 80s. Best cricket team ever, with one of the best cricketers ever, Shane Warne.
Warney.
So
Warney. Love to go out and clap him with Warney. You, Warney and KP lashing it up down Clapham High Street. We'd shut Clapham down, I'm telling you.
Well, Warney loves a night out. He's got his own gin out now, hasn't he? So he loves a night out. And we actually just auctioned off for our charity, the Rhino charity, Care for a While. We just auctioned off a round of golf with me and Shane Warne at Beaverbrook. And it just went for £12,000, believe it or not. 2 people to play with me and Warney. But KP is absolutely gutted because 2 people to play with me and Kevin Peterson at Wentworth on the West Course, which is a better course, by the way, where they've just had the BMW Golf Classic.
Yeah.
And went for 4,000. So 4,000's good, but 12,000 is just
different caliber.
Different.
I wonder what I'd get. I wonder if a round with the CEO Clapham and Goughy at where would we play? Stoke Park.
Stoke Park. That's the ex-Stowe boy who runs that. The kids went to Stowe, yeah, it's. I was thinking more, like I said. Now I'm a member of a Ligo club, boys. You can play anywhere. We can play the Grove, Centurion. We can play.
We should put it out there and auction it for the charity. I think people would love. They would just, the banter would be phenomenal.
Oh yeah, it would be. I don't know about the golf, but the banter might be okay.
No, Goughy, my golf is strong. You know, I do a lot of my business deals on the golf course. You know, one of my favorite things is taking clients and making birdies and eagles rain and then off the course, just securing the deals.
Yeah, I believe you, mate. I believe you. Hey, I never told you boys, by the way. You do know you are the CEO of Clapham, okay? I think it's a great title to have. You do know I've got the freedom of London, boys, don't you?
Was that through your MBE or being part of a livery?
No, this was a long time ago, boys. This we're talking 2001. I got the freedom of London. You go to a nice celebration in London. You have to swear in and all that. You get a certificate, and it means I can take my sheep across Tower Bridge.
That is actually incredible. I mean, I'm not going to try and ruin your, piss on your parade, Goughy, but I am also a member of the Merchant Tailors. So Archie, are you a member of a livery company? Or?
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Oh, right, okay. Fair play. Goughy, just going back to that cricket briefly, as it were, to touch on your incredible career, you were just talking about how incredible that Australia team throughout the 90s were, up until about 2005, practically unbeatable. So if I can take you back to the New Year's Test, 1999, England are sort of up against it once more, a traditional tale whilst we're abroad in the Ashes, and then you step up and become the only English player in the 20th century to get an Ashes hat-trick.
Yeah.
Run us through your memories of that incredible day.
Oh, well, it was a good day. And believe it or not, nobody's still done it now since we've gone into the 2000s. So it's been another, 20 years now.
20 odd years. Yeah.
Still no Englishman's done that. Yeah, it was amazing, actually. I bowled well the whole series, except the first test. Well, I didn't bowl bad in that one in Brisbane. But I shouldn't have played in that one. My granddad died night before the game, which was obviously something which would affect anybody's performance. But I played in the game, because I come from a family who would say, there's no way I'm allowed to go home. I have to carry on working. That's what Barnsley folk are like. That's what Yorkshire folk are like. It didn't do me any good whatsoever, but I played in that game. I got no wickets, and one wicket I got, and I got a duck. So that wasn't good. But I bowled well the rest of the series, especially in Melbourne. Got wickets there, we won. And then we went to Sydney, as you're talking about there. It was amazing, really. They'd won the toss as usual. They got off to a flyer. They were getting runs, hitting it all over the park. And then I got the ball. There were about 300 odd for 5. And it was the second new ball. And we had a dinner that night, believe it or not, with the sponsors, Vodafone. They were taking us out on the yacht for fireworks going off and everything, like a pre-party before New Year's. Celebrate New Year's. And we had to get off the field bang on time, and so it's 6 o'clock here. 5:30, and we've got to finish at 6, and we've still got 10 overs to bowl with a second new ball. So I'm running in, trying to rush. First ball was a big old outswinger going wide, and the umpire, Darrell Ayer, went to call a wide and went, oh shit, I can't call a wide because we've got to get off. We've got this party tonight, but come in quickly. Second ball exactly the same. He went to give a wide again. He said, that's my last warning. Anyway, so all I'm thinking about on the third delivery is saying, whatever I do, I'm just going to get this straight, get it straight. And that's honestly what was going through my mind. I ran in, I slipped on the front crease, dragged it down, short ball, gloved here nearly, straight through to the wicket keeper. That's one. Second one, in comes Stu McGill, my rabbit. I always got him out. Lads have put 5 slips in place, said, right, swing it out, they'll nick off. We've got 5 slips in place. I said, no problem, it's there. It's always in knowledge, skill, outswinger. Running, outswinger, in-swinging Yorker, knocked his leg stump out. That's 2. Third one, Funky Miller walks in. The boy said, same delivery, in-swinging Yorker, trademark Darren Gough. I said, no problem. It's in there, the skill. I'm going to run in ball, in-swinging Yorker. Running, outswinging, length ball, clipped off stump, 3 and 3, SCG. Didn't mean the ball any one of those 3 deliveries, lads. I'll be honest with you. But hey, it's got me an MBE.
They should have given you an MBE straight after that. That was phenomenal. Do you think a lot of it is in the mind, Dazza? Because obviously, for me, when you're talking that, I'm looking back at past deals, past games I played where the mind was strong and the performance was phenomenal. Do you think a lot of sport comes down to, the head?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to have a brain. but you have to be ahead of it, your thoughts, and actually premeditating, which I think happens in professional sport. I don't know if it happens in your sort of business, but premeditating what delivery you're going to ball, what the batsman's going to do. So yeah, a lot of that went in, and you've either got it or you've not.
A lot of the deals I do are quite premeditated. I mean, it's all depending on kind of what I always think about: what kind of watch I'm wearing, what kind of suit I'm wearing, what shirt, shoes, how the lid's looking, and what I'm going to order for lunch at the Ned. That obviously everything tells the client, you know, I'm a high performing businessman, and then I'll just pull the card and say, yeah, I'll show them a few photos of me playing rugby, you know, just to let them know that I'm also a high-performing semi-professional rugby player. So, yeah, a lot of what you're saying makes sense. It makes a lot of sense to me. And, Freddie, you should write a lot of this down because I want to put this in my book, this conversation I had with Goughy. This will be a turning point in my career.
Okay, I'll put that down.
Where two elite businessmen and sportsmen came together and discussed the power of the mind.
Do you always have to wear a suit for your business meetings, or do you?
I mean, actually, we've actually got a new sponsor, Goughy, Beaufort and Blake, and their kit is phenomenal for a dress down Friday. When you're wearing a bit of mufti in the office on Friday, and you know you're going for a few ales afterwards, it's you know, chinos, shirt, and a quarter zip is always good. But then again, you know, it depends. If I've got a deal that day, depending on how well I know the client. You know, if I don't know them, then I'm going in power suit, hair slicked back, superb watch, and
well, people always look at the shoes, boys. What shoes do you wear?
The best. Hugo Boss is one of my favourite kinds of shoes to wear.
Hugo Boss. What about Oliver Sweeney? You're not into Sweeney's?
Sweeney's, I've got a few. I've got a few of those. I'm a big shoe guy. I'm actually trying to get a sponsor with Jack Wills to do my shoes, but they decided they haven't come back to me. But I'd love to get some Jack Wills wheels. They would be phenomenal. But you're right, they always do look at the wheels. If I could, I'd wear flip-flops because I do love wearing flip-flops. Thought, you know, when I'm at home in Clapham, you know, normal kit on a Sunday morning when I'm going for breakfast at Megan's, which I highly suggest going to. By the way, the avocado they do there, Goughy, is phenomenal. But I normally wear my Canterbury joggers. My Clapham Falcon hoodie, so people know, you know, I play rugby, and then some flip flops, and then, you know, if the lid's, you know, a bit out of sorts, which it is these days, I'm bringing back the gap here. Look, I'll wear a beanie just off the back of my head, so people can see the lid coming back. So yeah, a lot of my look is premeditated, Goughy. I think a lot about, you know, every time I walk out my door, you know, it's what I look like, it's the impression I give. You know, and I'm totally
opposite. I'm totally opposite. I get told off by the missus all the time because I don't give an absolute monkeys. I just go out how I want. I like my jeans. I like my trainers. I like the 80s. I'm still stuck in the 80s a lot of ways. I like the Diodora Golds. You know what I mean? I like a bit of feeler. I'm obsessed by the 80s.
What does if your missus could dress you up, you know, what would she be putting you in?
Suit. Absolute suit, but I hate suits. And I've got plenty. Neil McCann from McCann's in London, he makes all my suits.
Yeah, they've actually been in touch with me about coming down there. Apparently they've got you can get pissed there. That's what the guy told me.
Yes, they've got a bar upstairs. I can sort you there, no problem. He's a great guy, Neil, who runs it. They've got a bar upstairs. I don't think they've got Whispering Angel, but they've got my wine. They've got the Darren Gough award-winning Careful Wild wine, which is high quality. So I recommend
which I read earlier is one of the best-selling wines in the country, which we'll get to shortly, Dazza.
Can I just, why we do bring that up? I mean, it's probably a good time, Goughy, for us to tell people about our new venture, our business, the Chateau Neuf de Chassis, which will be coming out soon from Darren's wine company. It's Chateau Neuf de Chassis. It's tell the listeners a bit about it. It's a fantastic drop. Superb for all occasions, and especially good for Christmas time coming up.
I love that. Chateau Neuf de Chassis. You could actually bring that out, boys.
Well, we are, aren't we?
Yeah. This is a partnership. We are.
Daz, we've been speaking to Anna, and she's been doing the business behind the scenes.
And luckily, I've agreed with Darren. He can have 15% of all the sales, and then we will donate 20% to my charity, helping northern private school educated guys get jobs in the city.
That is very, very hard. People don't like to give northerners jobs in the city, do they? I mean, it's getting worse. We need to up the numbers, definitely on that. But yeah, the wine's going well, guys. So perhaps another wine out there won't do us any harm.
We'll definitely put a link in the bio, and we'll invoice you after the pod.
There's I want to know, for one of the greatest bowlers.
Freddie, by the way, your interviewing technique today has been superb.
Thank you, sir.
This is easily one of our biggest guests, and you have reminded me of a young Piers Morgan.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
He's been good. He's been good. He's definitely good enough to be up there. Up there. Yeah,
you're focused. It's very, we could do. I was thinking this. We could actually do the Talk Sport slot. Maybe the 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. When all the chassis monsters in the city are in the gym working on their rigs. We're just there telling them about just giving them the chat, giving them about delivering pitter patter.
Bring a bit of business to Talk Sport as well, sort of help it branch out. Well, I suppose that's.
I'll be telling you boys when I go in next week.
But, let them know if they need someone to come in that 4 a.m. slot.
You two should definitely have a slot. Absolutely, 100%. So you're
a wise man. You're a wise man. I want to know,
Freddie. I got to say, you are lucky you've met me. You really
Archie, behave yourself. Daz, I want to know, because obviously you're one of England's greats, and sadly you retired just before the 2005 Ashes, even though you carried on playing white ball stuff. So do you ever sort of lie in your stunning bedroom in the boudoir with Anna, and as she's trying to tempt you away, do you ever think to yourself, just give me a second, Anna, I want to try and think to myself, am I sort of livid? Am I gutted? Do I miss the fact that I never got to play in that 2005 Ashes winning team?
Yeah, I do, mate. Of course I do. I played against that great Australian side. I could see them gradually getting dismantled throughout the years. Unfortunately for me, really, Test cricket came to an end. I know it says 2003 in the books and all, and cricketer and all that stuff, but really it was 2001. I was only 31. I got struck down with my knee in New Zealand. I had 6 operations. I tried to come back in 2 or 3. I lasted 2 games, and I just decided I couldn't do it anymore. So I played in 1 days, and I got back into the England team, didn't I, in 2004.
You did.
I played in 2005 in the 1-day games before the Ashes. But yeah, I must admit, when they won the Ashes in 2005, I mean, God, if I would have been playing in that series, I would have had an MBE back in 2005, because every member who played in that series got one. But yeah, of course, to beat Australia, it was always going to be a special moment whenever it happened. It was always going to happen at some point, but it took such a long time. In 2005, Australia were there for the taking, and England had some special talented players who were at their peak, as in Flintoff, Kevin Peterson, Michael Vaughan, Truskoffic, and they were fantastic, and they deserved that victory. They absolutely tonked them, didn't they? It could have all been so different. They could have been 2-0 down, You remember the Test match at Lords?
Yeah, I do.
They could have been 2-0 down, and that series would have been over.
Yeah.
But that was the big game in that series.
Daz, speaking about 2005, I mean, later that year, you asked selectors not to pick you for the Tour de Pakistan so that you could spend time with your family, which is completely understandable. 2 wonderful kids and Anna. But then the next thing they know is you're head to toe in glitter, taking part in Strictly Come Dancing, which you ended up winning. Congratulations. But how did that go down with your teammates in the ECB? And also, what were your sort of, quick highlight memories of that time winning Strictly?
I love that series. I got to say, now that your chassis then was looking good. It was looking good.
Mate, everything was good. The lid, the chassis, everything was good.
If only you had manscaped before.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you've always got a manscape, mate. No problem. I used to manscape. I used to use the scissors back then.
Yeah. But, well, I've just be warned. Do not use a bread knife.
No, I'm not used to bread knife.
Because I've done that, and it's not pleasant. But yeah, scissors are pretty handy. Yeah, but that manscaping, that kit is phenomenal. I'm guessing you've enjoyed it.
Well, I have when I can get it. Unfortunately, I'm having to share it with the 2 sons at the minute. They're at 25, 22, and they're more into manscaping than a 50-year-old man is. You know what I mean?
They're in peak condition. I've had a bit of bants with Brendan, and he looks like he could be a force on a night out. Is he single?
He's single.
Yeah. I got to say, he looks like a top shagger. He looks like a top shagger.
And he can drink as well. He's a good drinker as well. He loves it. Loves a day on the lash.
Yeah,
he loves a proper lash.
I might have to take him to Archie Street.
He's in with the Spencer Morgan and all them boys. He parties with them in Chelsea.
Yeah. We had Jamie Lang on the podcast recently. Well, he's coming out in a couple of weeks, but Lang is. I reckon actually we should probably Goughy, you're obviously invited to come and get pissed and clap him any time, but I might sort of take Brendan out for a spin in Archer Street Wine Bar to see how good he is.
You'll be impressed. Anyway, well, let's get back to the 2005 then. So the question you asked me, right, was it was an amazing one. Yeah, I basically felt that they'd won the Ashes, and it's been a strange old life. So me and Anna had got divorced in 2000 and I can't remember 2 or something.
That's right.
No, we actually got back together in 2005. So I thought after then, I thought, right, it's time now to spend some time at home. I'd been out with the kids' lives with cricket, travelling away 9 months a year, which we used to do. So I just thought I've had enough. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not touring anymore. So I'm going to spend some time off. So believe it or not, boys, I went on an end-of-season trip with Yorkshire back then. We went to Port Banús, and we were having a great time in Port Banús. And the phone rang, and I got asked to do a couple of TV shows. One's a famous one, which is out all the time, and that was a no-go because I'm scared of everything. The other one was the first Celebrity Love Island. Remember that? 2005.
Yeah.
So what they said to me at the time was, listen, we got this TV show, which is perfect for you. You literally, they say it's called Love Island. You get paid £50,000 to go and live on an island for 6 weeks. And I said, well, what is the name of the game? And they said, well, there's a group of men who are known, celebrities, whatever you want to call them, and there's a group of women that are known, celebrities. And the idea is to try and match you up, because they thought I was still obviously single. And I said, well, it sounds the perfect show for me, but it's on national television. I don't think that'll go down well with the missus, because I just got back with her at the start of that year. Nice. So it was the right call not to do it, although the temptation was there. So Strictly came along and they asked me to do Strictly. At first I swore at them and said, don't be stupid. There's no way I'm going on a show like that. My mates from Barnsley, I'll never live it down. There's not a chance, not a chance. No. But then, like everyone who does it, for the first 3 weeks it was totally embarrassing. But then somehow, believe it or not, you get into it. You absolutely think, God, this is actually okay. And I was the first male winner, so it was kind of a groundbreaking series because it was always thought that men, I gave men the confidence to dance because, like I said,
I was going to say, Goughy, I just want to say and take this time to say thank you because of you, it gave me the confidence to go to Infernos and actually dance and let my hips move, let my body just glide across that dance floor.
Dance, mate. What you go to dance? A bit of cha-cha-cha or?
What I really like is I like when Nickelback comes on. Anything by Nickelback, I bloody love. But when it just comes on, what I like to do is do the tense my muscles, pretend I'm lifting weights is one of my favorite dances. And the rugby lads absolutely love it. I like doing some squats and burpees as well, but I do it with a sort of dance twist. And but because of you, before that, I wasn't one of those guys. But when you went on there, I realised that it's okay to dance. And actually,
are you a 10 to 2 type of dancer? You know the 10 to 2 dance, don't you?
No, I don't. I know that's a time that sometimes I go for lunch with clients.
No, the 10 to 2 basically what it is, but back in my day when nightclubs shut at 2 o'clock, you used to get men just circling and women circling around the nightclub dance floor. And then at 10 to 2, everybody suddenly got confidence and realised it's the last 10 minutes to try and pull. Because if you don't pull in that 10 minutes, you're going, one sad boy, one sad girl. So at 10 to 2, suddenly the dance floor's full when a bit of Spandau Ballet True comes on or something like that. And everybody's doing the 10 to 2 dance. And no one can dance on that dance floor. But there's no intention to dancing. It's just a way, isn't it? It's just a way. Define the way.
I just feel alive. I feel alive, and I know that, you know, when girls see me, I reckon they're probably a bit intimidated. You know, I am one hell of a specimen, and you know, when I get on that dance floor, I think they think, okay, this guy's got something about them, you know, about himself, and then, you know, they meet me, and I show them my Instagram and just tell them how many followers I've got, and sort of, you know, show them my LinkedIn profile. And yeah, and then there's no worry. You know, I've sealed that deal. So the 10 to 2 for me it's more a midnight deal. And then, you know, the 2 hours I'm mainly snogging and doing quite a lot of dry humping in one of the corners of Infernos. But I do love a good dry hump.
Rhino, you just alluded to the fact that obviously as a cricketer you have to spend 9 months of a year abroad at times. And I know back in the days when you were playing, for the majority of the sort of days where you're in the hotel, so you have to share with another cricketer. So I want to know, you know, of all the hotel's rooms you've shared over the years, who was the best person and sort of the worst to shackle down with? And also, what kind of trouble did you boys get up to when you're in these far-flung places with not much entertainment? This is pre-Wi-Fi. It's hard to believe.
Yeah, it's pretty good when we used to be away, because I've roomed with some interesting characters. The most interesting character I roomed with was probably Jack Russell. Yes, it's his real name. Yeah. He's an artist as well, Jack. He used to
fantastic keeper.
Oh, absolutely. But he's also an artist, a very accomplished artist. Very, very good. And he used to, believe it or not, I roomed with him in India, and he put a washing line among, he always had to be near the window, overlooking wherever you were looking. And he put a washing line, and you weren't allowed to go on his side of the room because he used to have all his paintings on the floor. But the worst thing about Jack, he only used to paint after 10 o'clock at night. So you can imagine if you're rooming with someone and he's got a little torch on and he's painting at 10 o'clock at night till probably 2 in the morning, knowing you've got to play a test match the next day. And he's sat there in his string vest and his string underpants, which he always wore. He wouldn't wear normal pants. He had to string vest, string underpants. And he used to just be painting at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So you used to just get pissed before you went to bed. So you wouldn't have, you'd be able to just zip straight off.
This guy sounds like he's got no chat. He sounds like he might play hockey and live in Putney.
Oh, he's got no chat. He's got no chat, Jack. But he's a great guy. But he's just an artist. He's a bit mad. And he's a mega guy, but he just loves his cups of tea, doesn't drink, loves a cup of tea, and he loves painting. That's his life. He just happened to be good at cricket. The other guy I roomed with, who was part of the Teletubbies, which was Robert Croft, me, and a guy called Dean Edley. We used to be called Mark Elam. We were the Teletubbies in that England side. But he used to be a great character, very, very funny. He once stuffed me on a national interview to Wales. He said in Welsh to say "Tush bin Bob Saith" in Welsh, and it said "Happy Christmas and a Merry New Year." A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. It was supposed to mean, and I only found out a few years later, but it meant arseholes to all English. So he stuck me.
That's some bloody good banter. That's is
very good banter.
Goughy, I've got to be honest, some of the names are a bit lost to me. I'm not a cricket fan, mainly because I don't really get a sport that you have to wear trousers in. You know, what's the point of playing sport if you can't show off your calves? But, you know, this guy, that is, can we get this guy on the pod? That guy's got some great chat.
He has. You'd like Crofty as well. He's a very funny guy. He does a lot of after dinner stuff.
What school did he go to?
What school?
Yeah.
A Welsh school.
Oh, okay.
No private school, mate.
Okay. Freddie, scrap that.
It's our private educator. Me and Robert weren't.
Who was the thirstiest cricketer you played with in those times? And also, can you give it in? Sorry?
Flintoff, the thirstiest.
Flintoff, of course.
No one can touch the sides with Flintoff.
Well, tell us your best memory, your best night out with Big Fred.
Well, the best night out with Big Fred, without a doubt, boys, would have been our parents came down. His dad, my dad, and a guy called Steve Harmison, who's a great guy. He's also a big drinker. And we beat Australia in a one-day international at Bristol. And we went out in Bristol, down on the water from there, and we were drinking with our dads. Our dads went to bed at 10 o'clock. It was a Sunday night, believe it or not. And we met this bloke, and he run a nightclub in Bristol. and he opened it just for me, Fred, and Army, and a couple of his mates. So that we were in there, and he said, just put 20 quid on the till, and you can do what you want in here. So we had this whole nightclub full of about 6 people, and Fred were literally drinking out of the taps. You know when you push the tap on, and he were drinking? And I got him into this drink called the Green Monster, which is a Yorkshire drink, which is like it's a lager snake bite with blue balls, and it goes green. The pint goes green. So we were necking these drinks. And then we had the next day at Lord's at 2 p.m. And the last time I saw Fred was we carried him to his room, and his missus was at the hotel room with his youngest kid back then. And I knocked on the door, me and Army, and we knew his missus were there, and just hung him up against the door. And she opened the door, and he just went and dropped flat. And that was very rare for Fred, because Fred could drink for days, as you saw when they won the Ashes in 2005. That he doesn't know when to say no. And he lay flat on the floor.
Jesus.
And all I could hear is his missus shout, "Fred, not again." This is happening too often. And then not long later, we've all seen now, but he doesn't drink now. He's a pure athlete.
What's the drink you were saying? Just so the listeners know, because that sounds like a phenomenal drink to do a bum funnel with.
Yeah, trust me, you'll like it. It's lager snake bite with blue balls in the top.
Okay.
And it makes it go green. It's mega. It's strong, really, really strong, as you can imagine. But it's great. It's a spectacle. The drink goes green.
Did you say that was the day before playing a game? Because I was thinking, did you ever have trouble getting to a game or being able to play due to the actions of the night before? Now, whether that be heavy drinking, heavy petting, or like a dodgy curry in India?
Well, of course I did. It was a regular occurrence. The only problem I had, the biggest one, which became a famous one, and it's not something... I'd always have a few drinks. Cricketers are always trusted to have a few drinks, whether it be a glass of wine, because we were a bit more educated than footballers, aren't we? So if you said football...
Yeah.
If you said to
I call football Kev ball.
Yeah. If you said to a footballer before a game, an England game, say, right, boys, you go out tonight, have a glass of wine, stay responsible, you have 2 glasses, you'll be okay. But they'll go out and they'll get carried away, and they'll be in some nightclub at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and they'll realise that they're playing the next day. With cricketers, we've always been trusted, and I think that's why you get a lot of responsibility. But I'll be honest, in South Africa, in 99, the winter of 99, I got a bit carried away, but that was purely given permission. I remember we played day 1. We had South Africa 140, I think, for 4. I got 2 for 11 off 8 overs. I bowled beautifully on the first day, and then it rained from tea time on the first day. It rained the second day, no play. It rained third day, no play. Rained 4th day, no play. And when we left the ground on the 4th evening, it was raining. So in cricketing terms, we call that time to get on the lash. It's gamble time. We ain't playing tomorrow. And the coach,
I love that time.
Yeah, Duncan Fletcher said to the whole team, we're going to the steak restaurant tonight, and everybody can just have a drink and get lashed. And that was purely, we were all together. But it's like anything. Once some people get pissed and go to bed, some people stay up. Now, I was just about to go to bed when Lee Westwood, the golfer, walked in. Ian Woosnam walked in. Yeah, they walked in, and they've been playing golf, South African Open in Johannesburg, and they played 2 rounds. So both of them had made the cut. And so I ended up staying in the bar then until probably 5 in the morning, and then Duncan Fletcher, the coach, for some reason, had come down at 5 o'clock to tell me, but it's not raining. It stopped raining at Centurion. Go to bed and get 2 hours sleep. We're leaving at 7 a.m. So I went upstairs, made myself sick, had a shower, and then I thought it was okay. Got to the ground, and I wasn't good at all. I was off my rocket, mate. And I bowled that morning. Nasser, being the evil man he is, he made me bowl 8 more overs that morning, and I went for 60 runs in 8 overs, no wickets. So I ended up with 2 for 70 odd when it should have been. He should have just said to me, have the day off, Daz. You've had an hard winter. Have a morning off. But nah, he made me bowl.
Obviously, you've got a lot of respect for Nas being your old captain, but you know, there's a lot of jokes about him being the stingiest person in the world. Was he quite a boring fella? Like when obviously he was your captain, but did he have a couple of drinks, or is it true that he goes back to his hotel room and has a wank over the highlights?
Yeah, he does do that. Absolutely. In fact, there's a few do that, mate. Perhaps I should have done that more.
Who else? Can you give us some names?
There's quite a few of them, boys. Let me tell you, you only have to look most of that 90s side.
I don't think Nazza would make it in Clapham. Not under my watch. His pitter patter is boring. It's boring. He wouldn't survive the city either.
Boys, most of the batsmen tend to be like that. They tend to be the ones that went to bed early. Bowlers, the engine room, are the ones who like to, you know what I mean, get some calories inside them and have a laugh. But the batsmen were pretty odd. You used to walk past Nasser's room and all you could hear, I used to think anyway, until you just said what you were saying, all you could hear was his bat banging on the ground, just looking in the mirror, practicing his shots. But perhaps it was something else, boys.
He was strangling himself whilst wanking, probably.
Goughy, just here, I've got two questions for you, just off this conversation, going a little bit off piece. But if you were, one of my clients, you'd realise I do this quite a lot. But if you played rugby, what position do you think you would have played? And did you ever play the beautiful game of rugger?
Of course I did. I was a good rugby player, mate. I was fly half at school.
I thought you were.
Good hands. Oh, I found sensational hands. But I would say now I'd be prop. but no,
I could see you and me partnership. A 10-12 axis. They'd call us the Chattosaurus Rexes, and we would be bantering people off the park. You'd be great for a crash ball. I'd bring it to line. I wouldn't want to take the hit. I just pop one to Goughy, bam, straight through the hole.
I used to love it. Believe it or not, I used to love rugby. I used to love tackling as well. That was one of I would say my strength was tackling. I hated being tackled, but I was pretty good at tackling. I used to hit people hard. I've always been pretty strong and well built. But let's say I played fly half purely because of my kicking skills, being a footballer.
Yeah.
But I used to love tackling rugby. I do like watching it. Listen, but rugby league for me, I played rugby union, which is daft. Coming from where I come from, Barnsley is a rugby union place, which I can't believe because there's no private schools in Barnsley.
Yeah, that is extraordinary.
Yes, but Yorkshire in general.
There's probably a Channel 5 documentary in that. Fred, write that down.
Rugby league.
Dazza, obviously you were famously best man to one of the most incredible and controversial figures the sport has ever seen in KP Kevin Peterson. Firstly, how did you become mates with him? Because you couldn't have crossed over that much. You were playing for different counties. So how did that friendship sort of, spawn a life? And also, obviously, you were in charge of the Stag Do. Where did you go and how fucking loose did it get?
Well, basically what it was is we KP, I'm 10 years older than him, and he was coming into the side. He'd been obviously in South Africa. I played against him in South Africa, believe it or not, and he couldn't get in their side. He batted at number 9 for Natal against England in a warm-up game. I think it was 99. So I came across him then, and then all of a sudden, next thing, he's there playing for Nottinghamshire. And Douglas Fletcher came up to me and said, listen, you're getting on a bit now, guys. It's 2004. They brought me back into the side. And they said, you might not play much in South Africa, but can you look after this young talent we've got called Kevin Peterson? He's going to go back to South Africa for the first time with England. And it could be intimidating for him. So we want you to be his bouncer, basically. And he said it as nice as he could without saying I wouldn't be playing on that trip. So that's how it started. We got off to an absolute flyer. First night in South Africa, where we went out together, got absolutely steamboated. We came back to the hotel. We were both a bit loud, and then Paul Collingwood grassed us up actually to Michael Vaughan, and Michael Vaughan then told Duncan Fletcher that we'd been out and been a bit loud. So me being me, and I'd played a few games. I nicknamed Paul Collingwood Toenails because that's the only thing that was hanging out of Duncan Fletcher's arse at the time. So we nicknamed him Toenails from that day on, and I still call him Toenails now, which he doesn't like. And
that's a great nickname.
Yeah, it is toenails. And so then I had to go see.
Well, I went to a boarding school with a guy we called Toenails as well, but that's because he was actually he ate his own toenails. It's disgusting.
So basically, I went to the coach and told him that I'd been out on the lash, a bit loud last night, and I'd won too many. And I took him by surprise. And he went, okay, no problem. He said, just be a bit careful. The boys are still playing in a test match. You don't have to play for another 6 days, but just be wary of that the next couple of nights. KP wouldn't go. He was scared to death to go and tell Duncan Fletcher he'd been out on the lash with me. So that night, Duncan called him in, and oh dear me, did he come out and get an absolute bollocking. And that changed it. So that's the start of our relationship. It then developed. When I was his best man, one of the lines was, Kevin Peterson, the only man who fell in love with himself at 16 and managed to stay faithful ever since. And like I said, we just get on really well. And he didn't really want to stag do, if I'm honest, boys. He was scared to death of going out on the lash with me. I took him out in Barnsley once with Flintoff. So we went, me, him and Flintoff, and he'd never seen a human being being sick on the floor and then drink his pint, carry on drinking. And I think it quite scarred him, so he was scared what sort of stag do we'd probably go on. So he said, can we just call it a quiet night and a glass of Prosecco or something? Or
not even champagne?
Whoa.
Oh, no, he didn't want to go on the last with me. He absolutely was scarred from our night out in Barnsley.
Goughy, do you think, I always think that, we obviously had Popey on the rig biz, and I was saying to Popey, I really think me and KP would get on really well. I think we'd hit it off. In fact, I reckon if I met him and I got married, you and him might be my best men. Yeah,
he probably would. He's a nice guy, I mean, KP is quite shy, and everybody thinks he's this big, brash personality. He's quite shy. Once you get to know him, you get to see the real person. He's a generous bloke. He does lots of stuff for charity, as you've seen over the years. But he likes his own space, guys. But he likes a night out on the lash as well, And if he has to be comfortable and know someone. When we do our charity events, me and Anna, he always has to be sat right next to us. He doesn't want to be sat next to someone he doesn't know. But once he's in there and he relaxes, he starts enjoying himself. He's great fun. He's very straight talking, but he's great fun.
Desert, he's obviously, he's sort of misconceived by people because people think he's an arsehole, and he's definitely not. But if you did have to say, from your playing days, who was the biggest arsehole you played with or against?
This is top-notch journalism, Freddie. That was a great arsehole question.
It is. I think there's a couple of Australians I wasn't really keen on. I will be honest. I didn't really like them. Hang on, my missus is saying someone. Swann. Oh yeah, I forgot about him. There's obviously a few Australians who I didn't really get on with, who I really in 2005 were more interested in hitting him on the head than getting him out.
Sure.
And when I hit him in the chest first ball, it was a hat-trick ball as well. I remember that. Remember the first T20, Freddie, you're a cricket fan, 2005. We played at the...
Do you remember it? Pre-test series to build even more atmos.
Yeah. So we played, and we got told before that game, this is inside info, we got told before that game, we're not bothered about the result. Just go out there, loud music, enjoy yourselves, have some fun. Don't worry about winning. Just hit them hard. Go at them, give them full aggression, steamboard into them, any sledging you want. And
sounds like a night in Infernos for me.
Yeah. And so what happened that game? So I got Matthew Hayden out, and then I got Gilchrist out the next ball, which is not a bad two to get, is it? And I'm 35 now, guys. You know what I mean? I'm still performing at 35. You know what I mean? So then in walks Andrew Simons, right? Andrew Simons is he can be a bit loud, a bit in your face. He intimidates a lot of people. So Michael Vaughan was captain, and he come up to me and said, Daz, you're on a hat-trick. You've got one in test matches. Can you imagine if you were the first one to do it in a T20 international? And I thought about it for about 5 seconds. And I went, nah, I'm not going for the hat-trick, mate. I'm going to hit him. He said, what do you mean you're going to hit him? No, I'm going to put in a few slips. We've just got Gilchrist and Hayden. You want to get him out, surely? I said, nah, I'm hitting him. I'm having him.
My man.
And I bounced him and I hit him in the chest, mate. And he was hard. He's an hard boy, Andrew Simon.
Yeah.
And he tried not to flinch, but I was right in his face. I had the skinhead back then. And I had a diamond earring, which kind of spoiled the look. But the diamond earring, and I stared at him and I growled at him so loud. And everybody just followed in. All the other players just followed in and volleyed abuse. And I think from that moment in time, that team knew that they could get in Australia's spaces like they'd been getting in ours for years. And I think that was a massive moment. And I don't regret that whatsoever.
Honestly, it's uncanny how sort of our lives are entwined, because circa 2017 in Infernos, I was on a hat trick for bringing lovely ladies back to Casa de Curzon, and unfortunately, I realised the first week was a great week. Second week was a great week, but I bumped into the Putney Pirates captain, Hugo Smitherton Williams, who's a fantastic estate agent, but he was stepping on my patch. And the third weekend, I was going for the hat trick, and I was hoping to take I was texting this quite hot netball girl, and all the boys were like, "Mate, you're gonna do it? You're gonna do the hat trick?" And I said, "No, I'm going in there. I'm going to show Hugo who's boss." And I lashed him off. I lashed him off the dance floor. And although I didn't shake that bird, the performance, it warned him never to come back to Infernos again. So it's just uncanny how, we are entwined in so many ways.
Oh, we are, definitely. You turned out the hat trick for the good. You know what I mean? That's a good way to do it.
We're going to clap him.
I mean, the one player, listen, I go on with most players, and I go on most of the time with Graeme Swann, but I did give him a cow Taylor on one occasion. I did give him a left hook.
He's an arsehole.
Yeah, well, it was on that day. But as people know me, where I'm from, if people step out of line and wind me up to the point where there's no return, I give them I just lash out. And unfortunately for Graeme, he ended up with a dodgy tooth. He's got dodgy teeth anyway, and a busted lip. And he never did it again. He never mounted it.
Actually, Swanee, if you're listening to this, which probably got high listenership, he's probably listening. Swanee, if you listen to this, fuck off back to Putney.
Yeah.
But he's actually, do you know something? He's got good banter, actually,
Yeah.
He's a very funny guy, Swanee. But on that one occasion, he went too far and he got what he deserved.
There's you love making coin, and you sort of would do anything for cash, and
that kitchen looks phenomenal. It really does.
In one moment of your career, I
can't wait to come round and have some wine. I really can't.
And just before you started working for TalkSport, you became the face of Cost Cutters between 2009 to 2011, which is weird, as I saw you more as a sort of a Waitrose man, and also you were a ambassador for Collier's powerful Welsh cheddar, which must have been a real low in 2010. But then suddenly David Cameron gives you a call in February 2011.
DC.
You receive a call from the Prime Minister. I mean,
Camo.
You're going around cheese markets promoting a strong cheddar, and then suddenly the Prime Minister is on the blower, DC, asking you to stand in a by-election as a Conservative MP in Barnsley. How the hell did that come about? And can you sort of take us through the conversation?
Dear me, that's brilliant. Well, it was brilliant. I'd done Cost Cutter. Basically, one of my best, he's a very good mate of mine, Colin Graves. He set up Cost Cutter on a table. He ended up becoming the chairman of the ECB, the cricket. So, but I got him into, he's always loved cricket, but I got him into Yorkshire. He was my benefit chair, and then Yorkshire realised he got loads of coin. And then they got him involved in the CEO and then become chairman. And then he's bailed them out and borrowed them about 25 million over the years. And he sold Cost Cutter, I think, over 100 million. So he's quite coined up. So that was quite good, what he did. So that's why I did the advert as a thank you to him.
Lots of coin as well, I can imagine.
Yeah.
What is Cost Cutters? I have no idea. What is it?
I'm not familiar with the concept, but I believe they cut the costs of everyday items. But Dazza, can you help us out?
Yeah. It's basically supermarkets, but not in
like sort of Waitrose or M&S.
Well, they're more like corner shops.
Right. Okay. What are they?
Then I did the Welsh cheddar, which it's always been my favourite. Collier's, a picture of a miner on the front, so it kind of attracted me to the cheese. I tasted it, and then I posted something about it, and then I met the lady, Teresa Kerr, she was called, and I ended up doing an
you met the
advert in
stakeholder. That's business. That's business, Darren. You posted it. They connected with you, and then you went and met the CEO of this cheddar company, and they said, Darren, we want you to be the face of this cheddar. And you said, how much? They said an X amount. You said, okay, that's fine. Let's do it.
Exactly. That's exactly how it went, mate. You've got me.
That's how business is done.
Yes.
Darren, I know we're coming to the end of this interview, but obviously this is a business, meeting for me. And I don't know how much you know about season 3 of the Rig Biz podcast, but our big aim is to get a Christmas #1, and all donations going to Restart Rugby. But I don't need the money, if I'm being honest. So look, one question is, obviously we're asking all our guests, is will you sing a line on the Christmas #1?
Of course I will. Yeah.
And Freddie, that is how business is done.
Right,
and he hasn't even seen my watch.
Before we go anywhere, you want to know?
Yeah, it does. I want to hear about the David Cameron story.
So basically what had happened is I was coming out of the, I finished my radio show every day at 7 o'clock. I get on the tube, I get off of the tube at Euston, and I get the 7:43 train back to where I live here in North Bucks. So as I get on the train, the phone rings, and it wasn't a block number, it was a number I didn't recognise, so you know you're a little bit off guard. So I picked the phone up, and he says, I went, hello. He goes, hi, it's David Cameron here. I went, fuck off, mate. I mean, I laughed. I said, this is one of my mates. I said, get fucked. Put the phone down. And then Nigel Adams, who's the Conservative member from Selby and Ainstead, one of the posher parts up north, and he rings me up and he said, you've just basically told David Cameron to beat me. I know I'm beeping now because I swore twice in 5 minutes, but he said he's going to ring you back. Can you answer it? I went, okay, I apologise for that. So I rings back and he goes, I says, oh, sorry about that, mate. I thought where I come from, I thought it was one of my mates just giving it bants. And he said, oh, don't worry. He says, it's David Cameron.
I reckon Cameron loves banter, so he'd have probably got it.
And actually, I was surprised. He was very funny. And he says, I want to invite you to Checkers for lunch on Sunday with the wife. I said, okay. So we went to Checkers, which is quite unreal, really, isn't it? Went to Checkers.
Yeah. It's like the Ned, very much like the Ned.
Bill Beaumont was there. He'd gone for lunch as well, just casual. Bill Beaumont was there.
Billy B.
Will Carlin was there.
Carlsberg.
He gets everywhere, Will, though. I know he gets everywhere. He loves a night out, Will.
He loves a free lunch.
Yeah. So we were there. I mean, they were very relaxed. The kids were running around with Chelsea tops on, and he was talking about things. And then he said, can I fix up a meeting to chat about being the Conservative, going for running for office in Barnsley for the Conservative Party? I said, yeah, we can have a chat about it. I said, but I don't think that's going to happen. I said, you do know the history around the miners' strike and Maggie Thatcher and all that. I said, no matter who you vote in Yorkshire, who you vote for as a person, I'm quite secretive about it, because when it gets out, you can imagine the stick I would get. And there's no doubt about it, it definitely got out. They released it. And then I got all the abuse, as you would imagine, from Yorkshire, saying everything about it. But
surely they know how good the Tories are.
Yeah, well, exactly. But if you vote for the Tories, it tends to be a secret vote if you're from Barnsley, because I think the Labour Party back then were taking about 98% of the votes in Barnsley.
You live in a royal county with an incredible kitchen. I mean.
What was that, Freddie?
Sorry, Jazz. I was saying, like, you know, you live in the royal counties now with an incredible kitchen. Your kids went to Stowe. You're driving Bentleys on the weekend. You're getting paid, you know, millions of pounds a year to follow sport.
Cheese.
None of that is possible without two things: the two C's, cricket and conservatism.
I'm with you, mate. I'm with you. So I'm waiting for the stick to come back out. But I go there. I tend to go to the House of the Commons once a month. Obviously, I've not been for a while now, purely because of what's been going on with COVID. My next door neighbour is Ian Duncan Smith. He lives just across the
IDS, great guy.
Mate, that guy,
Controversial,
he'd be great on the podcast. I think he would enjoy the chat.
I should have got him in. He literally lives just there, well, about 100 yards away.
Well, Daz, talking about controversial figures like IDS, just to finish off, I'd like you to tell us what happened that one evening in Portugal when you accidentally got locked out of your hotel boudoir.
Well, I do a trip every year. I haven't done it for the last 2 years, but it's called Footballers versus Cricketers, all the old boys. So you can imagine it's a lot of lash going on. So Alan Shearer captains the footballers and I captain the cricketers. So it's all the old boys from the 90s who used to be playing football and cricket. And we obviously, none of us have got any chassis left. Alan Shearer's pretty fit. But the rest of us, you can imagine some of the guys there, not in the best of shape. So we all had a big drink, as always, each day. It's a 4-day trip. And on the second day, I'd gone back to my room about 2 o'clock. We're in this lovely hotel in Portugal. In
Whereabouts in Portugal? Valdelobo?
Yeah, Valdelobo.
Yeah,
right?
So it's one of my favourite places.
Absolutely. You can walk from the bars. Literally 100 yards. It's the hotel right there. So it's the best hotel that's there.
Yeah.
And
Geckos.
I was on the 3rd floor, right? So I goes up to the 3rd floor, gets in bed. I'm a bit lashed up. And then it was one of those hotels. I had this lovely big room, but the bathroom's next to the front door. And I always sleep with pyjamas on. But I was that pissed that night, I didn't put pyjamas on. So as I went to the toilet, as you get middle-aged like me, well, past middle-age, you tend to have a middle-aged piss, don't you, about 3, 4 o'clock. So I went to...
That's when I have my egg whites. So, yeah.
Yeah. So listen, I walked out the door and then it shut behind me and I realised that I was out in the corridor on the 3rd floor. Now, I didn't know what to do. So I'm bollock naked. I know there's cameras up there. So I covered my face rather than my privates because I thought more people would recognise my face than recognise my bollocks, me and 2 veg. So I walks down the stairs. I thought, I can't go in the lift in case one of the lads is coming up there because they'll definitely be getting the lift up. So I walked down the stairs because nobody ever does the stairs, do they, these days? Always the lift.
No.
So I goes down the stairs and I peek round the corner, I'm bollock naked, and I looks and it's a real long reception area of the hotel I'm talking about. It's a bit like this kitchen.
It's large.
Yeah. I walked along and believe it or not, there was a female working on reception.
Ooh.
And she looked me up and down, but like I said, I'd still got my face covered and just left a little bit of note. I said, excuse me. I says, can you get me the key for room 315? She goes, have you got any ID on you? I said, are you having a laugh? I said, I'm in 315, my name's Darren Gough. And she's just laughing at me. And I'm thinking quickly, because if any of the lads come in here and I'm stood like this, I'm going to get so much stick. And she basically gave me the key and then I ran upstairs and let myself back in. So that what happens when you have too much lash.
Yeah, that is some seriously good C.H.A.T. chat. It's weird. It's weird you say that, Dan, because weirdly, most people recognise me for my penis, not my face.
Yeah, I'm the opposite, mate.
Daz, you've been absolutely incredible giving us so much time and, relaying all these wonderful stories and memories. I mean, I'm
thank
sure
you so
we could
much.
even do probably a part 2. There are so many more stories to
there'll
tell.
Be a part 2.
And there probably will have to be.
I think we should do a live podcast in that kitchen. Get on the West Spring Angel and just record.
Come and do it. Come and invite, you're both invited anytime. We'll get on the Whispering Angel. I'm going to save these for when you come, guys. Seriously. You can come anytime and do a podcast from the Gough kitchen. No problem.
Darren, can you just let people know where can they get the Chateau Neuf de Chassis?
Amongst your other ones.
7 different bottles we've got. 7 different bottles, starting from the entry level to the mid-range to the protected thing, and you have to go to Slurp. It's an online shop called Slurp. SLURP. They're in Banbury. It's a wonderful online shop to start with, and it's gone, as you said earlier, believe it or not, it's gone mad.
Yeah.
People love it. It's high quality wine, 7 different bottles, 7 different wines.
We've been drinking quite a lot of it down here.
Yeah, it's high quality, mate. You'll be impressed by it. Trust me, boys.
I know, I've had some. It's bloody good.
And I did a blind tasting, right? You'd love this, right, guys? Did a blind tasting, and this is going to upset you, boys. I did 5 people here, and I put Whispering Angel in one glass. I put the Careful Wild, our own brand, Rosé in another glass. 5 different people, 4 people picked the Careful Wild Rosé as the best.
Well,
I could not believe it. I was gobsmacked, but that shows to show the quality of our wine, Careful Wild.
I'll go around and speak to a lot of the bars and restaurants here in Clapham and get you know, those connections in there, because we need to be getting on the lash on that that wine. And guys, do head to Darren Gough's Instagram page, and he will have a link for the Chateau Neuf de Chassis.
Dazzy, you've been absolutely incredible, mate. I mean, you've raised over £1 million for charity. You're one of the best cricketers to ever play the game. And now you're a media and broadcasting legend. To give us your time, we just love it. And we can't wait to see you down in that kitchen.
No, thanks very much. You give us plenty of laughs in this household. My kids and the missus love you. So,
well, send our love to Anna.
Thank you so much. We massively appreciate it. Tell Brendan that I'll send him the clip for his Instagram. He's just messaged me.
Yeah, it's Brennan, not Brendan.
Oh.
Brennan and Liam.
Brennan. Sorry, Brennan.
Brennan. It's Brennan.
Oh, good.
Sorry. Brennan.
Kyle. They have 2 names. Liam James and Brennan Kyle. I have 1. My name's Darren Gough. No middle name. We weren't allowed them where I come from.
No.
But because my boys went to Stowe, I thought they better have 2 names.
Agreed.
Yeah. Stowe's a great school. It's a bit like Shiplake.
Yeah,
it's great. It's great if you're dyslexic.
These boys pissed it up the wall a bit too much at Stowe, unfortunately. So
listen,
they didn't manage to go to the university, but they had a great time at Stowe.
Darren,
wasted all my cash.
Darren, honestly, it's a private school. It's not about the education. It's all about the connections. So do not worry.
Well, let's wait and see. I'm still waiting for those connections, boys.
They're going to come.
There were kids arrived by helicopter every Monday. He's not introduced me to any one of them yet.
I've got a couple of Russian people I'll introduce you to from my school.
Thank you very much.
Darren,
You're an
thank you
absolute
so
hero.
much, mate.
We massively appreciate it.
Send our love to Anna and
cheers.
the kids.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Darren. Thank you.
Yeah.